So we're doing the last exercise before we discuss the PFMA and the document from DSD. Okay, so we got this is going to be a budget now again.
Is the chemo budget?
Yeah. Right. Can you see that my screen, page 53 or 52 in your notes? I'm not too sure what page it is because I've enlarged my screen.
May we have the video, please?
Task 8.
Can we have get that?
Give me a second. Seems like one off.
Task 8.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So let's look at this last budget. So this is the cash budget for outpatients department in a certain hospital. So the expected income is the number of patients times the unit price. For example, if you are getting 2 patients and the consultation is 50 rands, it will be 2 times 50. If you get 5 patients, it will be 5 times 50 and so on. That will be your expected income. Okay, or revenue towards that department. So given the following points, I want you to draw up a cash budget for the outpatients department, right, in a government hospital. So income received from patients, the expected revenue is forecast to be on 3,000 patients per month, increasing by 500 patients per month. Now this would also apply to you maybe in your, let's say, social services, you're paying pension, social services, maybe expecting 3,000 this month, 3,200 next month and so on. So you need to drop a budget, maybe a quarterly budget and so on. Okay, so whatever you're going to do is applicable based on this example as well. Okay, just to learn some points from here. So what we're saying is that we start off with 3,000 patients and increases by 500 patients per month. Meaning month 1 will be 3,000, month 2 will be 3,500, month 3 will be 4,000 and so on. Consultation price will remain constant for the year at 30 rands each per patient. So 90% of the patient pay the full amount of 30 rands, whereas 10% of the patient fees are waived because of unaffordability. They don't have the money, so it's fine, we have to write off the 10%. So it means, what does it mean is, if I'm expecting, let's say, 1,000 rands in month 1, 90% of 1,000 rands will be 900 rands, which means the actual cash inflow for month 1 will be 900 rands and not 1,000 rands because the 10% is written off. Right, so point 4, medical expenses are expected to be 20,000 rands per month for month 1 and increases by 3,000 per month. So which means 20,000 month 1, 23,000 month 2, 26,000 month 3 and so on. The department is expected to pay 12,000 for 5 beds in 3 months. And 10,000 rand will be paid by the department to temporary staff for each month. Okay, so I've actually left out the rand values in 12,000, but these are all rands. Okay, 12,000 rands, 20,000 and so on. So I want you now to complete this cash budget for the outpatients. And I'm going to see what's going to be a cash balance for each month, for month 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, are my instructions clear?
Yes.
Are my instructions clear? You know what to do now?
But I want to know 2.1 up at 0.6.
Sorry, 0.6. Yeah.
Yes. People like understand.
What about point?
That's maybe
What about 0.6? What about 0.6?
0.5.
What about 0.6?
Number 5.
Yeah. What about number 5?
I was saying the department is expected to pay 12,000 for 5 birds
In month
in
3.
3 months.
No, in month 3. Only in month 3 you're going to make the payment. So it's only 1 month that you're going to make 12,000 payment.
All right.
And number 6, the 10,000 will be paid each month. So that's going to be a constant payment for temporary staff.
Okay.
Okay, so you now may attempt the cash budget.
Mm.
So I'll give you about maybe 10 to 15 minutes to complete this template. And you can have discussions amongst yourselves if you want as well. How's Any questions so far? I'm doing the first part of Joe.
Yeah, it's really quiet. Ask him if they can hear me.
Can you hear me? Can you see the screen?
Everything's on here.
Yes, we can.
Okay.
See.
So the first part, the
The
first,
screen is not visible.
the screen.
Sorry, it's blurry.
Okay, let me increase it now. Are you able to see this now?
Yes, we can see, but I don't a little bit here. Yes, so that we yes.
And now?
Yes, a little bit like.
We can see it.
Can you see it now?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. So do you agree with my first calculation there? 81,000.
Yes. Yes.
You all okay with that? Any questions before we move on?
What did
I got it wrong. How did you get to the 1,000 wrong? How did you consider the 90% that's paying?
Yeah, so 90% of 90,000 is 81,000. So 0.9,
Okay.
0.9 times 90 or 90 times 0.9 will give you 81,000. Similarly,
Oh, okay.
I think in this, the table did not say less of sales, it's less than that particular.
what less than? Sorry, can you repeat yourself?
I was saying in this, because the status, it could be less, by the government have reduced 10%, 9,000 month one. That is how it reached 1,000.
Yes. Yes.
I put it with the revenue again. I think maybe it's not understand. I cannot put this outside the table that you have given. So I will start with the 90s and the 105s. But my total aid is the same as it was. Just that I didn't touch the other projection. I subtracted 10%.
I don't know. You're breaking up. Do you have the first? Do you have the first row? 90,000, 105,000. So basically, it's 30,000. Do you have the first line correct?
When I calculated,
Someone.
I calculated and subtracted and then got my numbers. I was waiting on the other sheet outside to get the 81, but it did not go with the 90s. The one, I think like it did not respect revenue here. I thought maybe I was supposed to calculate the actual revenue that I would remain.
Okay, I can hardly. You're still breaking up, but just let me repeat this here. So if you look at the instructions, it says that your, what's the budget? So I need to just minimize this, get it down a bit. Right, so it says that 3,000 patients for a month, increasing by 500 each month. Are you able to see the screen? Are you able to see the screen? Right, so which means that month 1, 3,000 times 30 rand is 90,000. Month 2, 3,500 times 30 is 105,000. So that's your first row. So,
Okay, what I'm saying, Prof, is that I didn't know I was supposed to put in the 90. I calculated outside the spreadsheet.
okay, it's fine. It's fine. Long as you got the 81,000 is fine, no problem. Because you have to, yeah, in your organization you create your own template. So I could have put another line here, revenue less 10% or something, or revenue times 90%. So it's fine. Yeah, no, it's fine. If you got 81,000, 94.5, it's fine, no problem. You can adjust the template if you want. Right, so the next part, the medical supplies, it says increases by 3,000 each month. So that's 20,000, 23, 26, 29.
Yeah, I got it right.
Right, you all fine with that? And we said we're going to pay 12,000 rands for 5 beds in only month 3, which is 12,000 rand.
Yes, you got that.
Right, and we said wages for temporary staff constantly at 10,000 each month. So you fine with that?
Yes.
Right, now what we need to do is we could look at money coming in, money going out. So the amount of money that comes in, we're projecting to come in month 1 is 81,000. That's A, total A is 81,000. And money going out in month 1 is 30,000 rands. So the cash balance will be.
The screen is blank.
Sorry? Oh, the screen.
It's here. The screen is blank.
Now?
11. Little bit better.
That's fine.
Now it's fine. Okay. So just.
Thank you.
Right. So just to go over it, my total revenue for month 1 is 81,000. The total payments for 1 month in terms of cash is 30,000. Now remember, this year is a cash budget. We only going to look at cash amounts. No one owes us money. We don't owe anyone money. It's only money coming in, money going out. You've got to be very careful when you speak of cash budget. It's only checks coming in or you paying off someone. So 81,000 is the money that you're going to receive in month 1. 30,000 is the amount that you're going to pay out. These are my payments. So the difference between 81,000 and 30 is 51,000. So they're going to have a cash surplus in month 1. Okay. Month 2, my total revenue is 94,500. My total payments will be 33,000. That's 23 plus 10 is 33,000. So the total cash balance will be 94,500 minus 33,000. So we're going to have a cash balance of 61,500 in month 2. So if you want, you can even accumulate it to say, okay, by month 2, we'll have a total of 51,000 plus 61,500. You can create another row if you want to. So cumulative cash balance if you want. Then month 3, we're receiving 108,000. We're going to pay out 48,000. So the total cash surplus will be 60,000 rands. Same for month 4. Month 4, our total receipts will be 121,500. But our total payments will be 39,000. So we're left with 82,000 cash surplus. Now there may be cases whereby
The total bill.
sorry?
Prof,
Yes?
the total bill from 3 should be 48,000 or 36,000. So state 33, 48, and 39. Shouldn't that be 36?
Sorry, where's the mistake?
The total bill 1, 2, 3, month 3.
Month-
It's 48,000, but it's 30, 33, 48, and 39. Because I thought 36, I thought it was 36.
No, it's 26. 26 plus 12 plus 10 is 48,000.
Okay.
Right. So there might, in your organization, there may be cases whereby For example, let's say in month 4, we decided to buy, we're going to buy a certain equipment worth 100,000 rands. Right? So you might have another column, equipment, 100,000 rands, which means this year will be a negative balance because this will be 139,000 now. So 121 minus 139 will be a negative balance around about 17,500. That will be in brackets, which means that in month 4 we're going to have a deficit.
For someone just commented saying for cumulative amounts,
Yeah.
where you need to get a total,
Yeah.
you can use sum in Excel.
Yes. Yeah. So as said,
Please mute.
others, can you please mute? So as I said, this is just a basic template. You can do this template on a spreadsheet and you can put in your figures 0.9 as a formula and multiply all your months. Even your cumulative, in the bottom of your Excel, you can use the summation sign to find your cumulative balance. Month 1, month 2, month 3 and 4 on. And in most cases you find that you have to deal with opening balance from the previous month. So you look at your opening balance plus your cumulative amount to give you a total for that month and so on. Okay, so this is just a basic cash budget. So obviously your budget will be more, it'll obviously be obviously different from this year, but the idea is you need to budget, look at only the cash coming in and the cash going out and what's going to be your balance. So if at the end of, let's say, month 3 you find you're going to have a negative or a deficit, then you might say, okay, can we defer anything for the following month, or do we really need to buy a machine for 100,000 rands? If not, then you just got to maybe secure a loan from the bank or secure a loan from another department. Say, okay, we'll pay you in month 2 when we get month 5 when you get a surplus. Okay, so this is the discussion or you need to have with your other managers, your other line managers, or your senior managers if you're going to run into a deficit. Right, but the idea is to make you think now, how can I get this into a cash surplus? So very similar to like a break even, whereby your cash in must be greater than your cash out for you to so-called run to be liquid throughout the year. Okay, so that is the intention of this exercise. Very simple, but just to create awareness of how it's normally done. Right, are there any questions? So what this means is for the end of 4 months, my total revenue would be 405,000 in terms of cash coming in, and my total payments would have been 150,000, and the total cash that I would have at the end of 4 months is 255,000 rand, which is quite good in this case here maybe. Okay, but as I said, it depends on what's your budgets and your objectives for the next 4 months. So this is basically just a financial budget. Right, any questions before I look at the PFMA? Any questions? Right, now I'm going to refer you to the budgeting notes, budgeting finance, municipality and public. Are you able to see this? You can refer to your notes.
If we are able to see, bro.
Do you have a question?
No, she said she's able to see.
Oh, you're able to see. Right. So can I minimize this? Not minimize, let me reduce zoom. Right. So every government organization has to abide by the PFMA. I'm not too sure whether you're familiar with the PFMA and whether you're adopting it. Okay. So have you been exposed to the PFMA?
Yes, Prof, we are.
Right, okay. So just to recap, so the PFMA Act promotes the objective of good and sound financial management. Right, so the key word is sound financial management. And you find many municipalities and so on, We'll have qualified, unqualified audits, and so on. And one of the reasons for not having a good audit is because of not following the PFMA properly. Right, so that speaks about sound financial management. So what we do is, it's in order to maximize the service delivery through the effective and efficient use of limited resources. So just to summarize, most of you should know this already, that the key objectives is as follows: to modernize the system of financial management in the public sector, enables the public sector manager to manage, but at the same time to be held accountable. So for example, in the municipalities, there's accounting officers, they are responsible for that. Right. To ensure the timely provision of quality information, to eliminate the waste and corruption in the use of public assets. So in respect of National Treasury, it must be emphasized that the PFMA establishes an oversight role, right, over the organs of state and all spheres of government, whether it's provincial, whether it's regional, municipal level, wherever. So the Act establishes provincial treasuries which are responsible for preparing and managing the provincial budgets and enforcing uniform treasury norms and standards as prescribed by the National Treasury. Right, National Treasury. Right, the MTEF, I'm not going to go over too much, you can read about that. That's a framework, medium-term framework. So I want to get quickly onto the budget. So in terms of budgeting in your institution, you will have either capital expenditure. Capital expenditure is basically you're spending on equipment for the long term, or you're spending on equipment for the short term within the 12 months. So you have to distinguish, is it a capital expenditure or is it operating expenditure? So operating expenditure basically is a month-to-month or day-to-day expenditure. Right, that's the first thing you need to classify. Is it capital capex or is it opex? Right, and it has to be standard according to the IMTA. Then the steps in compiling any capital budget is determine the need for capital works. So you as manager need to determine what do we require in terms of equipment, in terms of technology, in order to make my department or my organization more efficient. So we need to compile a capital needs schedule. Now this is where you need to get maybe quotations from various organizations. Right? If you want to buy an equipment, you're going to get maybe 3 quotations. Or maybe it might be a tender process and so on. You need to prioritize capital needs. What's the most prioritized need now, and so on. We need to compile a capital program, compile a capital budget, and then we refer this to a council for approval. Right. So this is all based on priorities, based on cost, based on maybe a quotation that you may receive based on tenders, and so on. Then the budget approval. This is maybe done in the metropolitan councils, maybe provincial, regional, or wherever the case may be, depending on your reporting line. Whoever is the person that approves the budget, that has to be approved somewhere in the top. Right, so I'm not too sure what your chain of command, but you need to look at your chain of command when you're looking for budget approval. Right, but it all ends with the Minister of Finance, basically. So in terms of the law, local authorities may only incur expenditures in accordance with the approved budget. Right, your budget has to be approved. You cannot just use a budget without being approved. So this is where sound financial management comes into effect. Right, so what then are the objectives of sound budget management? These are to ensure that the council realizes its estimated income, to ensure that any expenditure actually incurred is covered by the approved budget of the council. So this is again now looking at your budgeted and your actual spend. So if it's the difference between your budget and actual spend, is it favorable or is it unfavorable? I supposed to spend 20 million rand on, let's say, social services or social welfare, but I only spent 18 million rands. So that can be unfavorable because 2 million rands should have been given to the public or social welfare or something. Okay, so, but you cannot spend out of your budget as well. So as it is, you have to control your expenditure and your income. So I'm not going to go over municipal because it probably will not apply to you currently. So basically the public budget, the purpose and processes. We get different types of budget. Now this is where I want you to apply this in your assignment. To see what budgeting is currently used in your organization or department, wherever you're working. And what's currently used and what can you recommend going forward in terms of the budgeting process. Now, so I'm going to give you quite a few different budgeting, but you can use a combination of these here, which is normally used in corporates. So you get the traditional online budgeting, which is like item budgeting. You can read through this here as well. You can get performance budgeting, which is a management, basically from a management point of view, how you perform in terms of your budgeting. You look at inputs and outputs, right? And also important is planning program budgeting, which is PPBS. So this is a system of resource allocation designed to improve the government efficiency and the effectiveness of long-range goals, right? By analyzing cost and benefits. So here we're looking at cost and benefit analysis. For example, if you want to budget for a park, find out how many people are going to use a park. Okay, and what's the reason for maybe developing a certain park in a certain area or a playground and so on. Right. So what's commonly used in the corporates is the MBOs, management by objectives. That's more like a decentralization. So MBO is defined as a process whereby goals and objectives are set through the participation. Now this is where you get participation of different managers, line managers, your senior managers if you want, and to look at inputs, outputs, and you allocate budgets according to the different inputs and what's your expected outputs. So, so looking at implementation, and each manager is responsible for managing each budget. So that's why we call it management by objectives. What were your objectives? Well, here we normally measure effectiveness and efficiency. It's more like a performance appraisal as well. Okay, so this is what is currently used in the top companies, MBOs. Then the fifth one is zero-based budgeting. Basically, this means starting from scratch. You might have a project, each year have a different project, and obviously each project has a different costing. You cannot say, okay, last year we used a project, it cost us 20 million rand, now we're going to have inflation of 4%, now it's going to cost us, let's say 20 million 400,000. You cannot do that. You can say, okay, this year's project might cost us 25 million rand because it's starting from scratch. So you could have a new cost allocation to new projects. So each project is basically regarded as maybe like a zero-based budgeting. Okay, so you can look at the steps involved in zero-based budgeting, and then you get top-down budgeting. The top-down budgeting is what's currently used in most organizations, even in the corporate world as well, even in government sector as well. But for a company to work properly in terms of, let's say, communicating your finances of your company, it's best to look at top-down and bottom-up as a combination, because the employees at ground level need to be communicated about your budget. So the bottom-up is normally known as a traditional approach to budgeting, where people on the ground will tell you, okay, how much you require. Your line manager will tell you what you require, then it goes to middle managers, and it goes up to senior managers. Okay, so that you can read about it, what's a top-down, bottom-up budgeting process. And so many companies will use a combination of this here. So what I would like you to do for your assignment is to read these different budgeting techniques and to see what is currently used in your organization or department. What's your proposal going forward, considering the question set by Professor Pillay in terms of your leadership, the new leadership in terms of your social services? Okay, what sort of budgeting would you adopt going forward? So you might be using currently, let's say, the top-down approach, but you might say, okay, going forward, we would like to look at bottom-up, because here we get the actual costs and there's more communication and so on. So I need you to read about this here and try to apply yourself in your assignment. And I don't want you to write figures and so on. So I want you to look at your current situation budgeting process, you have to contact your senior managers or your other line managers to see what budgeting is taking place in your organization or department, and look at maybe the weaknesses currently, and I want you to give some recommendations going forward. It can be maybe a 2 or 3 page report. Okay, but this must be in line with Professor Pillai's question. Okay, from a finance point of view, how would you improve the budgeting process in your organization? So we're not going to look at ratio analysis on, yes, basically budgeting process. Okay, right. So I would like you to read the document and apply yourself in the assignment, and I'll give the question to Prof. Pillai, and you can think about that question as well when you're doing his assignment as well. Right. So now I want to refer you to the document which I also uploaded. It's called the revised this year. Can you see it? The revised annual performance plan. Are you able to see this? Can you see this document?
Yes.
Right.
We can see.
Right. So this is the document that's published on a yearly basis. So it's an annual performance plan of different programs under the DSD. Right. But what's important for you is section C in this document. Now you notice section C. Section C in the contents refers to performance. Oh, there's your accounting officer statement there. Okay. Very important to read the accounting officer statement that he will talk about in terms of whether they abided by the PFMA and so on. Right. Official sign off. These top managers will sign off. Right. So section C. This is part C. Measuring our performance. So this is where the different programs like administration, social assistance, social security policy administrations are spoken about, and what amounts are spent and so on. So if I can refer you to, let's say, page 39 of this document.
They have this document.
Yeah, they have the document. Right. So look at, for example, social assistance program 2. They tell you the purpose, what are the sub programs, what the amount. For example, person earning less than 73,800 will not be, whatever the case may be. But this is all the criteria that they used in terms of compiling the budget. Right. So this is a social assistance that on a monthly basis, these are figures given. And in terms of performance, this is what you should be looking at, your social assistance performance. Old age. This is the audited outcomes from 2015-2016 tax year, 2016-2017, 2017-2018, 2018-2019. Okay, so these are the audited outcomes, and this is the budgeted for the following year. Right. So 70 and budgeted 76. So that's the budget for the following year. So you notice that how it's increased 53, 58, 64, 70. So the new budget for the following financial year would have been 76,000 for this 2019-2020 tax year. War veterans, and again, you notice it has dropped from 4.8 to 1.7. Right, so the budget is decreasing. Disability, you notice, has been increasing and so on. So these are the medium-term estimates going forward. So this is what managers look at when they do projections. Right, considering the, let's say, if the this social assistance program will increase, let's say, by 6% each year. So there are various figures which they will play with in order to arrive at these figures going forward for the next 3 years. Right, then you got child support grant, care dependency. So these are the totals that you're going to look at, right, over the years. 128, and you notice for the 2019-2020, it has increased from plus minus just about 50 somewhat thousand. Okay, and these are the projected for the next 3 years, 187, 201, and so on. So what happens now in the following year, when the audited outcomes come, results available, they will compare it with the budgeted, with the 76,000 going forward. Right, look at, is there a variance? Is it a positive variance? Is it a negative variance? So in this case here, you need to look at what numbers are increasing, what numbers are decreasing, and so on. Right. So you find that there's programs 2, there's programs 3, and so on. So each of these are basically defined somewhere on top of this document. So if you want to read the document. So basically this year is compiled by the accountants of the so-called DSD to give you the overall spend of the DSD. Okay, but within your departments or organization, you'll be feeding the different amounts hopefully to your senior managers and follow that line towards the top accountants in the so-called the government, right to the top. Okay, who eventually compiles this document. Right, are there any questions that's applicable, that you think may be applicable to your current organization or department?
Prof, can we have the topic for the assignment?
The topic, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'll the topic for this. I'll write it out and send it. I'll put it in our on the link with Professor's Pillai's question. So basically, the assignment is to review your current processes in budgeting. What are the weaknesses, and what's the recommendation going forward? Okay, so that's basically. But I will restate it in an email to you, or on a link. Right. So looking at what's your current practices, what are the weaknesses, and your recommendations. So I will type the question and send it via Prof. Pillai to you. Okay, but it has to tie up with Prof. Pillai's assignment as well. Okay, but remember that you're thinking in the form of a manager or a senior manager, and this is more a strategic decision going forward. So although your recommendations might be totally different to what you currently have in your current organization, but you're looking going forward in the next 3 to 5 years. Okay, how can we improve it in the long term? So you're not looking at putting out fires now, you're looking at going forward in the long term. And look at the reporting lines.
So is it a group assignment or individual?
Yeah, it's a group assignment. It's a group assignment. Yeah, same as Prof. Pillai's. It will be in the same group and probably the same document. Right, but the idea is I want you to do research in terms of who deals with finance in your organization or a department. How is budgeting done? You can put how is budgeting done in your department, organization, or in your province? Maybe phone or email and ask what's the reporting line in terms of budgeting. Do you only top down, bottom up, and you can even get some recommendations from your senior managers going forward. So, but now since you got some tool to work out from what we've done yesterday and today, you'll probably be in a better position now to look at, okay, from a finance point of view, budgeting point of view, how can we improve the current system? Right, and I'd like you to read that document as well on the different budgeting techniques. You can also Google it and see budgeting used in the corporate sector, and maybe apply some of that in your organization. Any other questions? It'll be due a week before the next session in March sometime. 1 week before your next session in March? Yeah, I'm not too sure, but we'll communicate that to you. Okay, but as I said, the intention here now is for you to communicate with your financial manager or your accounting officer or whoever deals with finance in your organization. You need to have that communication channel open as well. You know, as a manager, as a senior manager, or as a supervisor. Okay, because you also need to be communicated on the financial aspects of your department or organization. Any other questions or comments, feedback?
Due date.
1 week before the next session in March. Right, what? That's probably about 3 weeks' time.
They're saying we had challenges with the groups during the previous assignments.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to change the group?
Sure, you can ask Prof. Play that. Yeah. And what you could do is, if you work in groups, you don't have, let's assume there's 6 in a group, and if you're 6 different provinces, you can maybe choose one province, you know, where the information is available, and work with the one province only, with 6 of you. Right, so you don't have to give me 6 different provinces. So choose one of your provinces or one of your departments and work with that. Yes?
Groups are mixed across the provinces.
Sorry?
So as a group, must we decide the groups are mixed?
Yes.
Interprovincial.
Yes.
So as a group, must we decide, okay, we'll do Northern Cape or we'll do
Yes.
within Eastern Cape or whatever?
Yes, yeah. But remember, it must be in line with your with the other question from Prof. Police on leadership. So is the leadership one based on your individual provinces or as a group?
Interprovincial.
Interprovincial.
It's a group of,
Yeah, it's a group, but do you work on one? I know interprovincial, but your assignment, the leadership assignment, is it going to be on one province or different provinces?
It was different provinces. It was different provinces.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll have a chat with Prof. Pillay and let's see what he says, and maybe we can decide on either doing one province in terms of your budgeting or maybe inter-province. You know, what are the weaknesses in province 1, province 2, province 3, and what are the overall weaknesses? That can be another question maybe. Okay, but let me leave with Prof. Pillay. Okay, I'll probably just call him. Give me a minute. Yeah. Okay, so Prof. Pillay is available. So just to recap, as I mentioned, I want you to look at the budgets. The budgeting process done within your organization or province, and look at the weaknesses and how you're going to overcome the weaknesses and recommendations going forward. So it has to be tied up with Prof. Pillay's assignment. So maybe you can just talk about.
Absolutely. So you done?
But I thought they'll probably choose one, if the 6 in the group, choose one province,
right?
Find the weaknesses of that province and only work with that.
Absolutely. Okay. So in this exercise, and by the way, thank you, I've been able to skim through roughly some of them. You guys have done a really good job and you're on the right track. So the assignment, what I'm looking forward to you doing is actually using a lot of the content you picked up now to provide either the budget or the financial planning for those initiatives that you are proposing. So if you've proposed a new initiative, the expectation is you'll use what you learned in these 2 days to develop a financial strategy going forward, using some of the tools that you covered over the last 2 days, which included budgeting, those kinds of things. Budgeting, of course, one of the most important things. So that's the expectation. You're going to link finance to the project that you did. Remember what I told you? The whole idea is, over the course of these 8 months, we're going to constantly add to your foundational document which you have submitted to me. So when you get it back, if you want to tweak it, because bear in mind, you're going to have a financial strategy associated with it based on content. Your next module is on strategic use of information systems. You're going to then use that content to create another component of the assignment. And thereafter, we're going to be doing sessions on operations. You're going to use content from that. At the end of 8 months, what you have is a full business plan aimed at transforming social services. So that's where we're going to. That's what the expectation is for this assignment as well. You have Dr. Bridgelal's contacts, I think. Pradeep, did you share? So he'll put his email on the chat. I am no finance guy, so if you have hardcore finance questions, contact Prof. Brijlal directly and he'll be able to help you and guide you along through that. Having said that, I think Module 3 is now scheduled for the week of the 15th of March, I think. That's the Monday, but for Module 4, that's Strategic Information Systems Management. It's the Thursday and Friday and not the Monday and Tuesday that you're used to. Okay, so I will send out those final dates when I get back. That'll probably be Monday or Tuesday, but take it from me, it's going to be that week. I think, Vic, what's that, 15th is a Monday. I think it's the 18th and 19th of March, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, any questions about the assignment? 15th is a Monday, 16th, 18th and 19th March is your schedule for Module 4. Okay? Your assignment will be due the Friday before that, so 15, 14, on the 12th. Okay? So you have enough time, and Prof. Brijlal will make himself available to assist you with that. Okay? So, you know, if it's something I can help you with, I'll be happy to, but if not, he'll be happy to do that. So I take it that you're done with the content.
Yeah, you want to know the due dates?
The due dates, I gave you the due dates. It's the 12th, although I anticipate almost everybody will request an extension, but that's okay. Okay, I understand you guys are working, and it's not going to be easy for you. So, you have a question?
Yes, Prof.
Yeah, go.
Prof. Brijlal was saying he'll send it in writing. We just need that claim stipulated because we cannot rely on what we think the head is saying. So it's always best that in an outline.
In terms of what?
The question, the expectation as you were explaining,
Okay.
I see the interpretation issues that might come up here.
Okay, so we will formalize the actual brief. That's what you're saying. You want, yes. Okay, so both Dr. Brijlal and I will do that this afternoon. We'll sit down because I know he heads back to Cape Town. So we will draft it and I'll send a paragraph out explaining far more clearly what's expected. If I did a bad job for the assignment one, my apologies. But we'll try and get it as succinct as possible. So, okay, good. Thank you for that. Any other questions? No. Well, I hope you enjoyed them. Sorry?
The structures of the groups or the grouping will be allowed. Remember we're being...
Yeah, I know you're having issues. You know, so when you submit assignment 3, what I look at is I look at the names on that. The best case scenario was to get you from different provinces to work together. Now, if that's logistically impossible, either because of, you know, scheduling or because of network issues, then formulate your own groups of about 5 to 6. I'm going to look at the names on the cover of the assignment and I know who participated in the assignment. So if you have to reform, do that. But as you can see, it's going to be in your best interest to stick together and build on what you started. But I understand the challenges you face. So if different people are involved in assignment 3, that's fine. And I know I'll preempt the next question, which is how many pages? Pradeep, do you want to answer that? Yeah, it's 2 or 3. Yeah, the finance section is sweet. It's all tabular form and it's pretty easy. So 2 to 3 pages. And you have a month. So, and Prof. Brijlal is going to be available. And, you know, this is just developing your own skills and your own competencies and make you better at what you do. So invest some time and energy. I know finance, you know, people have an inherent fear for numbers and finance and accounting. And that's the reason I brought him in, because it's not something I'm comfortable with. But I think every one of us needs basic information. So I know he's given you really good notes. I know his exercises are pretty good and useful. So practice. That's all I can tell you to do. You know, get used to pulling up financial statements and trying to make sense of them. And don't fear questioning what your bosses tell you. about budgets and so on. Don't assume they know better. They don't always know better. And I think, you've been through a substantive 2-day program. And, I always say, if all you learn in this course is that what questions to ask, then I think we've achieved our purpose. Because we also want managers who can ask the right questions. Any other questions? Doesn't matter. 5, 6 is fine. 5 or 6 is fine. I mean, I think if it's a 3-page assignment, it's 5 to 6 is fine. If it happens to be 3, I got a message from somebody this morning to say, I'm sorry, I'm the only guy, but it's okay.
Someone just asked, can we get a recording for the past 2 days?
Yes. Okay, so the recordings are ready. Yesterday's recordings are ready. Today's, I think, will be ready tomorrow, and we'll share the link for you to access that. And you'll be able to access all the videos of all the modules as well. We are just setting up a new platform, but that will also be ready pretty soon. So very soon you'll be able to go back and revisit this. Yes. Anything else? Any other questions, David?
Okay, in terms of the previous group that we have regrouped and the number exceeds 6 is close to 11. That's fine.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I just want to know that they have contributed. So if you're going to have 11 people contribute in a 3-page document and you made that work, then of course this management program has been working for you. But so I really don't mind. Number of pages in the assignment, number of people, that's not kind of stuff that I'm going to penalize you for or anything of that. I don't do that. It's not my style of teaching. This is designed for adults, so, if the name is in there, I'm just going to make an assumption they contributed fairly to the final product. That's my point of departure. Okay? Anything else? Okay, so if you have no questions, we will release you from the session. I hope you enjoyed your module on finance for non-financial managers. I hope you enjoyed Prof. Brijlal's style. I enjoyed it, so I use him quite extensively in my programming. And I actually want to take this opportunity on behalf of you to also thank him for making the trip from Cape Town and spending the 2 days with us. So Pradeep, thank you very much. We appreciate it, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you, guys. Take care. Stay safe. Yes?
Can we get an indication that you have received our assignment?
I will. Yes, I will. My emails are full of assignments, so that's the first good indication. Yeah. But I'm going to reply to each one that I received either tonight or tomorrow. So I have a free day tomorrow, kind of free, so I'm going to pay some attention to that. Okay? Take care. Be safe. See you in a month.
Cheers.
And thank you to Prof. Brijlal. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.